Yeah, he's not in the server yet though, but he's streaming and he can hear us.
Anyways, welcome ladies and gentlemen to a cast. Doing a cast with Prodigy tonight, and I have not done a cast in so long, so I apologize right now if I stutter or mess up, any of that kind of stuff, but how are we doing tonight, Prodigy?
We're doing great. I can't wait to cast this.
Anyways, for those of you that do not know, you probably know we have Zombie Bastards, I believe, on Survivor right now, and they're going up against Team Belligerent. For Zombies lineup, we have Luxtra, Buster's Born Trouble, and Buzz. Let's see, Buzz. No, Belligerent, we have Ning Ning, Jay, Jeffy, and Bowflex, and we're seeing the attack going, Hunter bouncing around, getting the pounce onto Ellis. Charger going in, landing onto Roshan. Looks like the spin barely spreads to Roshan. Jockey riding on next spin.
But the tank is up and coming in right now.
Oh my
and it
God,
looks like the survivors are being forced back into the safe room because of this. Getting a good number of punches off. Ellis is now down. Oh my gosh, Tank is going to sit there and babysit, it looks like. The survivors are in the safe room, so they won't be losing rage on that tank yet.
Tank's moving in for a couple more swipes, but it looks like he missed. He still has a ton of health right now. Actually only chipped about 800. But with those dual pistols and those melee weapons, you can't really do a whole lot with this first tank, so we're going to have to hope that they get a couple of melee swings in this next attack.
Yeah.
Looks like BNT is waiting for their next hit to come in. We're seeing that Hunter going for a stumble maybe, but he gets dead stopped by Coach. Jockey landing on Coach's face after landing the dead stop. Coach is getting punched in spin. Looks like he's going to go down here after the next hit. Got a free melee swing in. Tank is down to about 3,700 HP.
Indeed. This is a really tough spot for the survivors to be in. It's really hard for them to get out of the safe room at all to make the take and lose rage.
I need some help. On your feet, let's go.
Definitely, this should prove interesting. Tank still has about 3,300 health. Generally, halves. Survivors looking like they could pull through this if they keep that chip up. But, either way, this tank has gotten tons of damage already, so even if he is... We're actually seeing the survivors move out to the right room, conference room, but it looks like the tank is going to cut off Coach. Coach is in.
Oh, they almost made that.
Yes, we're going to see Tank rushing in, getting 2 punches on a Rochelle, maybe even 3, but it looks like he's changing target to Ella.
And it looks like all the SI are getting stuffed though, and this tank is alone in there with 3 survivors. Another Ellis has gone down, but they're going to be able to get him up and keep working on this tank. The survivors are actually... it's working out pretty well for them.
Definitely, Prodigy. They do still have 2 pills up, and even though one survivor is down, it looks like they're going to be able to get him up. The tank is in not a very good position to push up, so they are going to get Coach up, but that jockey's actually going to go in, and he does manage to stop the pickup. Grabbing Ellis for a few seconds, this tank is throwing a rock. Barely missing those spin employed onto Coach, disallowing them from picking him up. They are going to be able to get him up, it looks like, but the smoker is ghosted behind that. Maybe going to be able to stop the pickup, and he is actually chasing Ellis as well. So it looks like we're just going to see Nick go away, run away for distance.
Oh. And Ellis managing to juke over the tank somehow, or he got behind him and just got punched out of the way. It looks like this will be a wipe for the survivors after all, but not after getting a little bit of distance. Really valiant effort.
I was really surprised. I actually thought they were going to be able to pull out of this, but it looks like the SI support from BNT was able to stop them from killing the tank. We're seeing that Charger pick up the last survivor who was hit.
Yep, there you go. Having that, having Coach split off there in capped really didn't help. I feel like if he didn't get in capped, or maybe if they just ignored him for a little while longer, they could have killed the tank and had 3 people at least.
Definitely, looks like they were tunneling a little too much on the infected, and they needed to get way more chip on that tank before going to pick up the survivors running away. But it looks like BNT is going to have a huge advantage knowing this tank is up. I'm expecting them to try and rush that right room. I'm not sure how that's going to work out for them, though. What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, that's obviously the play that we're probably going to see. It's just a matter of how they bait out this attack and how the infected handle it. Because you have some really good blocking potential with this SI, but you know, it's going to depend on how far away that tank is and whether he can block him off.
Definitely, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out. Looks like we have 2 of the SI, the Hunter and the Jockey, in the left room of the survivors. And it looks like the Charger and the Spitter are set up in the left turn where we're expecting them to rush. Oh, it looks like actually all the SI are switching to the left or right.
Indeed, indeed. Just baiting out here a little bit. They're taking it really cautiously. And here comes the push, and they make it. None of the SI have been spawned. This is huge.
Oh
they made
God.
it to the conference room. They may have been choosing not to spawn there, but I don't really think so. That seems like it was just a mistake on the infected side.
Yeah,
You have a pretty good setup to go in with here.
definitely the tank is spawned up in the hands of Born Truck. But if you notice, they actually scrambled to get that spawn in the corner, but it was intelligently by everybody else.
Yeah.
You see the tank move in, pounce onto Rochelle, but cleared almost immediately. Tank going in for a couple of swipes. Coach is in the spit, but he missed that second hit.
Oh, and now this tank is alone again.
Right now, he's getting destroyed. He dropped about 1,500 health during that attack, and he only got 2 punches? 1 punch?
Yeah, I think he only got one, and then he started missing. He got one on the Hunter, but it didn't count. And now the survivors are actually going to push him a little bit for some chips, some line of sight. And this is pretty good, actually. The tank is going to pass before he can go in again, I think. Yes, he does pass, in fact. So there's only one pass left with, and only 2 spawns up right now, a Jockey and a Hunter.
Looks like a double pass, actually, in the...
Oh, wow.
Oh, they do have a chart. So that Jockey going in, or rather, yeah, Jockey.
Yeah.
You're gonna see them waiting for Born Trouble spawn time, which is 5 seconds.
Indeed, this should come up pretty quick. Hopefully they can time their SI a little better this time. Oh no, and we get a Spitter as the last SI. But the tank's gonna commit anyway. He goes in, SI going at the same time. Tank trying to separate some people. Finally getting one punch onto Coach. Missing a punch onto Rochelle. And wow, this tank is cornered, taking a lot of chip. He's still at about half health, and they do have one in cap off of this. Tank getting out again. Looks like he'll be able to get another round of attack.
Unless he decides to move in, losing about another 1,000 health, 1,200 even.
Wow.
He had a solid 2,000 health getting out of that room. I mean, he took lots of chip, but at least he didn't, like, almost die. But now he's only got 800. It's really
Only
making
got
this
one chance to do this.
I really don't want to sound mean here, but that tank really needed to play that a little better. It looks like his punches weren't exactly on par with the other tanks. Didn't miss nearly.
For sure.
Missed a lot more, and
It looks like they have AI'd it, and he is heading in right now. Tank's still alive, some SI sort of stumbling around. And the tank gets wrecked by Rochelle, just slicing his face. A boom going in to delay him a little bit. And a Charger getting a lot of punches somehow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Though the tank didn't do that much work, it looks like the Charger did.
So yeah, they got a considerable amount of chip off of that at least. But yeah, the tank could do with missing a few less punches, and I really feel like the SI timing was sort of key to that. They sent the SI in at the same time as the tank every time, instead of just going in after he got somebody cornered or someone.
Yeah, I definitely feel like a lot of the... I'm not sure how much the other teams know, but at least for me, I thought it was common knowledge that they would always send in the tank first to go for a hit and then go for the other 3 SI if they had a quad.
For sure, for sure. Looks like sort of a random hit going in on here. Just some spit being laid down, trying to get a Jockey off, and some... But the Hunter, the Jockey, everybody sort of got stopped there, and they're just saving a Smoker right now.
Yes, looks like shaping up to be BNT's lead here. Well, rather it is already, but looks like they're actually going to make it to the safe room unless Zombie Bastards can pick up the base.
Yeah, they do have a Charger here. If they're able to get some sort of a death charge off, that could be pretty big if they get it onto the right people.
On a Rochelle. We're going to see that Charger spawn up. Maybe he's not quite going in
Yes.
yet.
Oh, and he gets leveled, I believe. The Charger just got leveled by Coach, was BNT Ning Ning, I believe. At least that's what it looked like.
That's a nice play by the survivors, but I was hoping that Charger would go in faster, but it looked like he was kind of just sitting there waiting for the...
Yeah, I think he was having trouble getting a spawn because of proximity and where the person was pounced. But yeah, they could have capitalized on that a little bit better with a bit of luck.
Definitely, but handled well by the survivors, able to clear that Charger right as he came around through the door.
Certainly.
By Coach. So it looks like they have a decent setup down here. I'm not sure what their fourth spawn is, but it looks like a Smoker.
Yeah, we got Smoker, Hunter, Jockey, Spitter. Not usually want a charger for this hit, so it's not quite the best, but maybe they can manage to get some spit damage on Bowflexen or Jay here.
Looks like they're gonna pile into the fire or ahead at least. We're seeing the infected attack come in. Rochelle pulled through the fire. We're gonna see the jockey ride all over Coach's face and do a bit of damage, not a whole lot.
Yeah, both of their cappers that landed ended up going in on Rochelle and Coach, who aren't carrying any of the health bonus right now. A little unfortunate for them.
Guess they need to prioritize the targets a little better. We should see at least one, maybe two more attacks if they make this next one.
Yeah, we'll probably see the next hit up at the doorway at the end of this room, I'd imagine. And they do have a charger for that. No smoker to do the pullback, but with a boomer and a hunter, you can get a lot of spit damage here. We'll see how they handle it.
Alright, so pipe bomb being employed right outside the door. Looks like the hunter doesn't want to go in quite yet. Probably gonna wait for that.
A boom has landed on the back too, and they're pushing it. They do get a charge on Coach, and Nick has been pounced, getting hit in the spit. Oh wow, oh my god. Nick has just been in cap. Rochelle's at 1 health, and Coach is now gone. Yeah. Yeah, only Bowflexen left with health bonus, and with 2 in-caps here, they might be able to even get another down on Rochelle. Might be able to do something here with 1 more hit.
Definitely, looks like Buzzy's gonna be up. I'm not sure if the rest of the spawns are, but he might be able to pull back and stall a little bit. Smoker Tongue going for Rochelle all the way up in the front. Would have been much more fortunate if he pulled Ellis, but that's gonna be safe for him for the survivor.
Yes.
BNT's lead with 172 health bonus is gonna be leading Zombie Bastards by
672 over 102. Pretty big lead.
But that first tank is really unfortunate for them. They didn't expect it, you know.
That was really unfortunate. They did handle it very well, seizing the opportunity to run to the conference room, but they just couldn't make it through after that.
Alright, so I believe we're gonna see BNT on Survivor this first round with Zombie Bastards on Infect.
Indeed. In the Dead Center 2 right here. A real great map. In my opinion anyway, I don't know how you feel about it, Sygnus.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure if you were lagging or if it was me, but I didn't quite make out what you were saying earlier. Could you repeat?
It's probably me. I was saying we're on Dead Center 2. It's a pretty great map, at least in my opinion. I was wondering how you felt about it.
I do enjoy this map. I like the crescendo the most, probably. One of my more enjoyable crescendos. At least you actually have to run it.
Oh yes.
And there's so many ways you can mess up the, well, not mess up the attack, but you can mess up the survivors when they go to put in the cola.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I really enjoy this map. Probably one of my favorite Dead Center ones, at least.
Yeah. This probably is the strongest map on Dead Center.
Speaking of Dead Center, I wanted to know your opinion about the finale. One of them are well, yeah, it is really unique for a finale, at least. It's not identical to Scavenge because there's a tank.
Right, tanks and no timers.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to know your opinion on the finale.
We generally see teams not doing as well on it because it doesn't fit the standard sort of versus setup, but I think it's really interesting to see teams go through that. But the round has started, we are live, and the survivors are looking to just bait out some common right now, try to clear out the area. Zombie Bastards on Infected, sitting here with a Jockey Charger Smoker Boomer. No spitter for this attack, so we'll have to see if they get their boom, or maybe a tricap.
Interestingly enough, it looks like we have 2 shotguns for BNT.
Yeah.
That's another thing I was going to ask you about. What's your opinion on, like, weapon loadouts? Like, do you really think having 2 shotguns matters, or are you more of a fan of just having 1? And actually, sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt before you ask. Survivors are rushing out. Charger getting a nice charge on Nick, but getting instantly cleared by the survivors before he took any damage. Smoker lynching Ellis right there.
Wow, that's got a
and a nice jockey on the green survivor. This amazing damage by
wow.
Bastards.
That charger was really good to get that land, but yeah, he got cleared really quickly. I want to point out something that the survivors did here, is they did sort of a bait. They acted like they were going forward first, which triggered the charger to go in, but they actually looped back around some pillars over off and to the right, so it was sort of a bait opening there.
But ended up getting 3-boomed anyways.
Right.
Very nice response by Zombie Baz. I was actually at a loss for words there. I didn't quite know what was happening.
That was pretty intense.
Definitely.
And it looks like no spitter for this hit either. They managed to just get a boomer again. Oh, Hunter spawning up, but not able to set up before Nick gets down there and blocked him, getting completely destroyed. The jockey's under the stairs, also getting stuffed by Nick, played by Jeffy. And the boomer and charger, not even sure what to do. I guess they're just going to wait for the next hit.
That attack, like you well said, pretty much stuffed by Jeffy.
For sure. We'll just call it a sack. They were sacking those spawns, of course.
Definitely. Obviously,
Reloading!
Presumably the spawns are up now. I think they're gonna maybe wait. They might elect to hit on this semi right here.
I think that they will. They don't have the spitter yet, which is what you want for the next major choke point. So I'd kind of like to see him hit right here. They do have a tri-cap. If they can get this boom, it could be a pretty good hit. I think it looks like they're going to wait for the dumpster at least, though.
Yeah, it looks like the boomer's trying to set up for a boom, but they're blocking spawns pretty well. And the only way he's going to be able to get one is going to be maybe inside there if Rochelle decides to move.
Now, Belligerent is not utilizing the highway behind the survivors right here, which they could actually get some spawns up on top of. So, if they did that, maybe they could have hit there, but it looks like they're just going to have to wait it out. All of the cappers are right now sitting behind a couple of bushes here, and I'm wondering if they're actually going to use those spots. It seems like filing out of there might not be their best option, but we'll have to see. If they get this boom off, they can do a lot of work. Boomer is unblocked right now. He's going in. He gets one on Coach. And it looks like the Charger going in, missing his charge. Smoker also missing a pull, and a Hunter getting skeeted by Bowflexen, I believe. And the Smoker is now going to have to retreat and cry home to his mommy.
Indeed, that was very well handled by Belligerent there. Minus the Charger missing his charge, pretty much head-on going in alone, and never really enjoy seeing that. But what can you do, right? The Hunter got pretty much access tonight as well. So.
Now, they did get the spitter, but this attack just didn't do enough to slow down the survivors, and they've taken the staircase choke point. They've also set themselves on fire and had Nick run through it.
And tank is up as well.
Oh, really?
Luxray has control of the tank right now. And we should see, because they set that fire off, that he had to wait a little bit and lose about, he's going to be at about 40% if he rushes in, maybe 35. But he's electing not to go out right away. They do have the spitters, so I'm surprised they haven't sacked it yet. Looks like they're going to pass this tank before they even get the spitter sack. I'm kind of wondering what's going on here, Prodigy.
Yeah, oh, and it passed to the Charger, who they've decided to AI. Maybe not the best decision, because it'll be a while before they get another Charger up. And they just put in the spit, but they have not dropped it yet. They still have the spitter alive. I don't think they're going to be able to get this tank in without either taking a lot of chip or sending it AI. And
Tom employed inside.
That was close. He threw that rock. They tried to capitalize on it, get that light in there, but they missed. But this will AI the tank. There's nothing he can do about that.
Definitely, unless he elected to burn himself, but that doesn't seem like an ideal.
No, he decided to go in. Smoker getting a pull on Rochelle, but getting cleared quickly. Tank still hasn't cornered anyone. Hunter moving in, distracting three of the survivors while the tank corners Nick, punching him. And a Boomer getting a boom on Rochelle. It looks like this AI tank's actually going to get a few more punches, maybe. He's only got about 1,000 health left, getting a last punch on Rochelle, who had a lot of health bonus, and a rock going up. Oh, yeah.
Sorry I interrupted you there, but yeah, it almost looked like the tank was going to get another hit just because that Charger had come in.
Yeah.
Getting ILS for a power.
Unfortunately, the AI tank took that time to throw a rock at the bus and was not able to get another hit in.
I will say, though, he did manage to get good chip on one of the survivors. He had cornered. He got 2 hits, I believe, maybe 3. I think it was L.
Right, he cornered Nick and then he was able to get some more chip on Rochelle. He actually got a punch off on her.
Yeah, that's always a thing with the AI tanks. It's a hit or miss way of calling it, but sometimes they can actually do a good job if the survivors don't kill them fast.
Yeah, they're really good about aiming and cornering people and getting punches, but they're sort of bad about choosing to throw rocks. And looks like the next choke here, the survivor's just baiting it out a little bit. Jockey pre-spawning up top. See if he can scare him off, make him bleed a little, or grab this first person.
See, now what I'm not sure about is why they would attack so early here.
Oh no. And the jockey gets taken down. That's gonna really hinder their ability to get damage here. However, they do get a pounce landing on top and a spit going in, so they're gonna get a little more chip onto Nick, who of course is already on temp health. So not a whole lot of damage going in there.
I don't think this is fair game because Busy's AFK, so we should probably pause. No, I'm just sorry, I had to say it. He's got 0 points for it.
So sad. We have a horde coming in here while the survivors are trying to move up. Tossing out a Molotov on their backside. They do have a witch out front of them here. We'll have to see how they play it.
That's gonna go down. They didn't exactly
there they go.
trouble up, so...
Yeah, there's not a lot you can do there anyhow.
What I'd like to see them is attack inside the weapon store. But it looks like they're sitting up outside, and that being said, Charger's gonna go on
no.
separating her very badly. Tricap has landed, Smoker pulling Nick. Jockey landed on Ellis for a few seconds, finally getting cured by Coach. That Boomer is still alive, maybe gonna get the proxy, but he is gonna get meleeed away.
Ouch.
That was a nice attack. Ning Ning making a bad decision of going under the stairs, making him an easy charge target.
Yeah, having your health bonus in front right like that is never a good idea. As you can see right here, you just got one wrong move and the Charger took down all of that health bonus. That was, I think, a couple hundred points at least of health bonus.
Yeah, there. I'm not sure what it was before, but right now it's 320, so that's definitely not close to what he had earlier.
Yeah.
So coming up to this crescendo, they have 2 pipe bombs and a Molotov. They should be able to handle this easily, assuming they don't get too hoarded before the attack comes in and they don't pipe. Now, what I'm wondering is how the Zombie Bastards is going to handle this attack. I'd like to see them get a good hit inside, but at the same time, most of the time that hit doesn't work very well.
Yeah, it's really hard to get cappers to move around each other correctly in here, but they do have the spitter. It would be really nice. And it looks like they're going to start it off on the 2 survivors back there, and a 2 cap did not quite land. They did get a pounce it, and a charge spit land on Nick in the back there, who's going to take a lot of damage, may even go down. He does go down in the back of the room there.
I just have to say that was really well thought out by Zombie Bastard. That would have been such a nice hit if the double cap landed in front on Rochelle, and I believe it was Ellis, but that jockey just came in like a millisecond too late, and that would have been a lot of in-caps.
It sure would have. That Charger intercept there was really powerful. And they at least managed to get an in-cap off of that part.
Definitely, but unfortunate for them, they still have their health bonus is not taking that much chip at all. That Smoker's spawning up, gonna get dodged here. Jockey gonna go for a ride on Nick's face. Hunter getting skeeted by Jay, very nice by him. Looks like all their cappers are down. The Coke is gonna get tossed up top, and they are gonna get it in without too much trouble.
I have to say, they didn't have the best cappers there, but I still feel like that attack was rushed. You can still get a lot of good hits later on this event instead of going there in the open, where the survivors have a lot of wiggle room.
Yeah, definitely. I have to agree with you there. They kind of seemed like they were rushing that Smoker spawn to separate him, and then just kind of went downhill from...
Yeah.
So the next spawns are up, and it doesn't look like they have too much of an ideal setup. They do have a Charger and a Spitter, but I think there are other cappers, a Jockey, and the other one's a Boomer, so it's not that great, but they still... It's lots of damage there, so as long as they land, it's all that really matters.
Now, the survivors are slow here, so all 3 of the survivors are slow anyway. So the longer they can hold off this attack, they can actually, if the survivors keep baiting like this, they can end up going down to 1 HP on a couple of people.
Definitely. It looks like they're going to set up in the tent here, though. Maybe going to go for a punch, but instead elects to go for a charge first. bit is going to be employed on Rochelle. It looks like she may even go down, but not quite. Nick, however, did go down, being boomed and jockeyed, I believe. So 2 of the survivors right now are close to 1, if not 1 already. We have Ellis and Rochelle. And Jay, who still has tons of solid, they really need to work on capping him.
Yeah. Of course, it will take the health bonus down significantly if they can get the kills on these players, but nobody's black and white except for Nick, who still has a good amount of health. I mean, the in-caps would slow people down, but just being able to get that chip down on Jay would be really good. They do get the punch down on Rochelle, and the scratch down on Elliot. They do have a pull now on Coach, who takes a little bit of damage, only takes 8 damage from that. And he's still in yellow right there. It's just a smoker left sort of baiting him around. Survivors getting themselves back up. It looks like Ning Ning Rochelle will be black and white at this point. 2 players black and white. But
So
at this point... Yeah, go ahead.
If they can make this next attack count, it could definitely, some possibilities for black and white, but with that spitter gone, I think those possibilities are pretty much gone. Jockey landing over just values for a couple seconds, but like you said, probably not too much is going to happen here in the area for spawn.
And Charger's coming in for a final hurrah, runs to the safe room and gets some stumble points. Oh, kills Jeffy! Right in front of the safe room. Poor thing.
Looked for a second like a fail charge for there, but getting that last second kill on Nick lost some multiplier, so that was definitely worth it.
Yeah, I really thought Bo Flexen was going to take him out with that hunting rifle, but instead he got the stumble off and managed to take that time to go up and scratch Jeffy to death. Alright, and we're ready for round 2. We'll see how Zombie Bastards handles this opening against Belligerent here.
Now to catch up, they're going to have to make it with a decent health bonus here. After that first map, they kind of... They were behind by 570, I think. And, yeah, they're just really going to have to make this map if they want to keep up with Belligerent. In fact, it's spawning in. We're going to see that Smoker look for a pull on one of the survivors. Charger landing on... knocking back...
3 of them.
On,
yeah. I think he hit 2 of them, actually.
We're going for a proxy, but the Charger is... Got, I believe, 2 pounds, a good amount of damage on Code.
Yeah, that was Ning there, getting 60 points off of that Charger. That's pretty sick, actually.
God.
The other SI basically sort of distracted for that, but yeah.
Yeah, that was tons of chip on that first attack. Pretty impressive, if you ask me.
It's the problem with stacking up in this game. It's not a great thing to do on Survivor.
Definitely not so. One thing Valve really tried to focus on was stopping campers, and they definitely succeeded in that aspect.
Yeah.
I think a little too. But,
now we do have a spitter for this attack. Hits coming in, a pull going off, trying to get some of them there. A Hunter does land on the stairwell, getting that spit on top of him for an okay amount of damage, taking Born Trouble down into the yellow. But it looks like the hit has mostly been cleared here.
See, this is where the other team kind of messed up on, was they let the survivors push up before spawning, and he wasn't correct. I think he was still in that earlier when Jeffy handled both those attacks. I think that Hunter was still in that 1 second if he couldn't jump into his left, at least. Kind of like how every infected can't really attack right away after spawning. But what they did, they didn't let those survivors rush up to them. They spawned prematurely, and even though it wasn't a great attack, they still managed to get some chips. So.
Indeed.
What I think a lot of teams... Oh, sorry. Boomer is going to drop on and land on 2 of the survivor.
And now Belligerent is actually utilizing this highway behind them. Oh my gosh, I think they're going to get a tri-cap here. They did get the smoker pull and the 2-cap happening in the back with Charger and Hunter getting massive damage in on Rochelle and Nick right now. Wow, they just put Nick down into the red and Rochelle down into the yellow. That was a really good hit right there. Really good utilization of the map for that hit.
Definitely. That almost was a tri-cap, but either way, that Smoker got cleared, and he pretty much did his job, which was distract for the Charger and the Hunter to do tons of damage. Already 200 points of damage on the board for Belligerent.
Can we stop shooting each other?
We should see this tank spawn up pretty quick here, at least when they get up into the ammo room, but it looks like Belligerent might actually get another attack. And what I was going to say earlier was I think what a lot of teams tend to do, at least a lot of the less experienced team, was they try to make nothing out of something. Or, sorry.
They forget to make something out of what little they have, or something like that. And it looks like a hit's coming in here, though. A pole landing on back. They actually landed a 2-cap there really quick. Boomer getting some scratches and Boom in there, which will delay the survivors a bit before this tank, and they are bleeding out, so that's going to be kind of useful there. Just a little bit. Looks like they're going to push up and start the tank, though.
Yeah, we should see this tank up pretty quick. Might actually take the gas can with them to try and actually light the tank instead of just blocking him, making him lose rage. But
alright, and the tank is coming up. They are going to be able to get out of there before spawns are completely up. They've set up a gas can and a propane tank pretty neatly right there at the door. Which is going to be very good for holding this tank off.
See, what I'm worried about here is if he rushes out and they don't quite expect it, and he elected not to try to juke it, but the fire's right inside.
They do have a tri-cap, though. I think this was sort of planned that they were going to go in and commit with that. Now, see, the tank is getting one person cornered right now. Jockey and Charger going in. Smoker does get his pull. Charger gets one, and there's only one survivor left. Up. The tank is going to push in on it. Oh, the survivor gets cleared there. Ellis is down. There's just Rochelle left. He's running away and getting completely destroyed. The tank is almost dead, though, and he gets the last punch at the last second.
My god. That was... wow, Jeffy did work with that burning tank. And the SS support was awesome, too. Got the in-cap on.
Yeah.
And then Ellis, and then Rochelle. Oh my gosh, that
was really good timing on the survivor part. Really good handling on that tank there.
Wow, I just can't get over that. He did so much work with that burning tank.
Yeah. Well, they did recently change it so burning tanks aren't slowed down as much anymore.
Has a lot of effect on the tank gameplay.
It does, for sure.
So, anyways.
Alright, loading into map 3 now. Another fairly good map. It's got some good choke points. It also has some death pulls and death charges, which makes it a little bit more random than some other maps, but we should be able to see some interesting gameplay here.
Definitely. Not one of my favorite maps, but always pretty interesting to see what they can do in these minimum amount of choke points.
Yeah. It's just a few escalator choke points and then an event where we can see some crazy things happen.
But what I was trying to say earlier, I couldn't really get my bearings straight. A lot of lesser experienced teams try to make something out of nothing. When they have very bad setups, they try to set up ahead anyways and try to make something out of it. But I think what a lot of teams need to do more is just get rid of it. Like, if it doesn't have a charger or at least a spitter, a decent setup, they just need to get rid of it. And what I see teams doing a lot lately is just trying to attack with it anyways at, you know, safe minor choke points. And I think they're too afraid that they're not going to make the attack count, that when they do hit, it doesn't really count anyways, and then the survivor gets even more mad.
Right, like what Belligerent did on that choke point. They didn't have the best setup for that attack, and they weren't, so instead of just trying to save it for a time when they could use those SI, they just sort of went in and used them and actually managed to get some chip, and they got rid of the setup they didn't want.
Anyways, so match is round 3 is live with Belligerent on Survivor again and Zombie Bastards on Infected.
Yep, right here. There's always a lot of common infected right outside this save room, it seems, so we'll take a while clearing those out. This can be a pretty tough choke point to attack on, depending on where the survivors go. There's 2 very big options for the survivors, and if you set up on the wrong... If you set up one way and they go the other way, you can have a little bit of trouble. So we'll have to see how Zombie Bastards does this. Looks like they've set a Boomer in front who's getting Nick boomed. The other side just now spawning in. A Smoker moving up for a pull. Hunter does land and a Charger lands. It's 2-cap right there, and the pull coming in a little bit late while the Charger is still pounding away on Jay right there. Gets cleared just before he gets that 3rd pound in there. And so that's actually a pretty good amount of chip. They did pretty well with that hit.
Definitely, that was a very nice hit for right out of the safe room, 60 damage right off the step.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a very nice attack. It looks like they actually got pills right away, so they're gonna pop that just for that little amount of temp.
Reloading.
Or was that? Looks like an adrenaline.
Might have been a shot, or maybe he took it early. I don't know. We do have another set of spawns up, but the survivors have taken a couple more choke points, so we probably won't see anything until they choose to move down this escalator.
See, this is kind of what I'm talking about. Or, wait, no, they have a charger. What am I talking about?
Yeah,
Never mind.
they have a boomer and a charger. That can actually be pretty effective down here.
Definitely.
Usually you'll see like the boomer drop off from above once he's got some room. And it looks like he's going to be trying that. And we do have a pit spitter, charger, and hunter, all of which can make some really good combos, so we'll just have to see what lands and how things go.
Definitely. Looks like the survivors are really just baiting and clearing out these common...
Yeah.
However long they need to. And it actually looked like a mob spawned? Or
Yeah, I think this is a natural horde.
Yep. So intelligently baiting that up before deciding to move up. They know that they have a good enough attack, so they don't want to get rid of it quite.
Yeah. Well, this is, and yeah, on Survivor side, you really just need to clear these out. They are sending Ning Ning down, though. 2 survivors down on the bottom so far. It looks like Ellis and Rochelle are just sitting up top. They're a little bit split, but there's no smoker to play on that. Alright, all survivors down. Boom does go in, landing on Rochelle. Hunter pouncing around. I don't think he's going to commit yet. Charger and Spitter just got their spawns. Oh, and the Charger goes for free charge, missing everything. Hunter does land, but the Spitter has been cleared before she can spit. So they didn't quite get the charge spit or pounce spit there.
Definitely choosing a weak spawn point there. They actually got blocked very easily by Nick just going behind the pillar. It was kind of a poor choice if you ask me, but they still got some okay chip.
Yeah, they really should have just kept using the top up there. They were waiting for the boomer to get the spawn up top. And they could have just spawned the charger and the spitter up top too. But they didn't quite see that. And so we're going to be waiting for the next choke point here. Another escalator hit, probably.
Yes. Another thing I kind of see happen a lot is they get too tunneled on these choke points, so they don't... They don't set... A lot of our teams need to start setting up the charger behind the survivors, because what survivors will do a lot when they hit these choke points is they'll run backward. And if you get that charger in behind them and they don't see you, you can get an easy charge and do...
Absolutely.
Possibly more damage than you would if you hit on the actual choke. And they're actually letting them get up here. I'm kind of wondering what's going on.
Well, the survivors did an interesting sort of thing. They moved up the escalators on both sides, which is actually, with this hunting rifle for support, that's actually can be pretty strong because you block a lot of spawns at once. But I think the SI team just didn't know what to do about that. They had all their spawns blocked at once and weren't able to go in on it.
Obviously just not prepared is all that really happened. That boomer's going to go for a boomer drop landing on one of the survivors. Jeffy getting charged as well into the store door. Smoker going to pull coach for about half a second before getting cleared. Jockey's going to go for a right on Nick's face, but getting denied. And that's going to be it for Zombie Bassett's attack.
Yeah, they could have gotten an alright hit there. They just weren't able to get all their cappers in at nearly the same time. They sort of came in one at a time, and the survivors were able to clear the charger pretty quickly, and after that it was kind of over. We do have a spitter up here. I'm wondering if we're going to see another hit in this area. The survivors are probably going to take their time in case of a tank. And they don't have a smoker yet either. I think we may see the infected drop all of these, or I'd like to see them drop some of these, because they can get some powerful attacks in here. And this isn't really the setup that you want to have for the event.
Definitely not so, but it looks like they're actually just going to... Kind of wondering what's going on here. That hunter is spawned up though, so it looks like they are going to try and sack something, maybe. Looks like he's kind of afraid of dying though, so I think they're trying to hit, but I'm not 100% sure what's going on here. Hunter is kind of just following them. Going to break down the door maybe and then go. No, but looks like they're relocating to the top of the escalators.
Could be some really high-level play where they want the survivors to move back there, and then they'll hit them. The hunters just baiting them back. But nope, the survivors aren't going to bite, if that was actually what's happening. They're going to move out while the SI set up on the escalator here.
Now this one I always have mixed feelings about, because at the same time, if...
We do have a tank up right now, though, and the survivors... It looks like they're not quite sure what to do. One has been boomed, and they're going to move back through this area. If they move back quick enough, they might actually have a chance of AIing this tank. We should actually see the horde stop as long as the survivors move back. The bad part about going back this far is, of course, that horde will start spawning up again as soon as the tank dies, I believe. Looks like a spit going down to try to slow down the survivors' escape. But the tank is moving in, but the survivors should be able to get out of there, except Nick is going to be looking for items in the side. Jockey getting cleared. Oh, not quite able to get that in. We do still have horde going in. It looks like the tank has blocked himself off with some piece of equipment. I don't know what to call that thing, a dolly or something. And he's taking a lot of chip here, taking about 1,000 damage. We do still have horde in on the survivors though, but the tank is going to get out here for a second. This is their second tank, so one more pass and he'll be AI. He only has 40% rage left, trying to get some sight. Survivors not giving him any, they're just trying to clear this horde to stop it coming in before the SI start moving in. And the tank's at 5%, it has been AI'd. SI's coming up, getting a charge in the corner on Coach, who actually gets spit taken on him. Losing some permanent health. Tank moving in, punching Nick into the corner. Looks like he's going to take away all of Nick's permanent health also. While he gets beaten up by the rest of the survivors. Nick almost going down there. Now he's down, but the tank has been taken out. That was interesting, to say the least.
Kind of like the last second shut the fuck uppercut by the tank there.
Yeah.
Was kind of... I hate to say it, but I completely facepalmed when I saw that tank didn't rush Nick. He was in such a bad position, I was so afraid he was going to get caught by that tank, but for some reason he tried to get that lift and then it looks like he was trying to block him, but he could have easily just punched him and, you know, denied him from moving out.
Indeed. I've been told that's a pallet jack, by the way.
Pallet jack.
Or so says Tony Stark in a cave. And it looks like they do have the smoker for this hit now, so that's kind of fortunate for the team. Boomer going in behind. Charger taking Nick back down. Isn't going to do a whole lot. A hunter does land on Alice, though, taking away some permanent health. And now the smoker is still up, but has been picked by Bowflexin.
Very nice play, by the way. It looks like he almost got a death fall there.
Yeah.
So, getting access tonight by Bowflex. We're going to see them probably make it to the button before they have their next set.
They will have a couple spawns here. Depends on if we get another horde to spawn in this room. And they get the button.
You have a nice setup, though, so far. Spitter, Charger, Jockey, and a Hunter.
Wow, this could do a lot of spit damage, but it looks like the survivors are going to keep pushing up. I'm going to lose a couple of choke points there. And the Charger goes in anyway. Going in first, though, completely wrecked by 4 survivors.
No.
That was unfortunate. None of the other SI were ready to spawn up and hit with that. Ouch.
Reload.
I just, wow.
That's quite a facepalm.
Indeed. He really should have waited for his Hunter to go, and it would have been much easier for him to get a charge, but I guess he got kind of bullheaded and just went in.
Yeah, nothing like only having enough time for one more SI attack and then losing your charger.
Reload.
And it looks like some SI are spawning up. Hunter bouncing around. Smoker going for a pull, but he can't pull through glass. Jockey trying to land on Nick, but somehow getting stopped, and the Hunter gets skeeted, and that's going to be pretty much it. We'll probably see some spit thrown at the door to stop, or maybe just dance around a pole out of sheer hopelessness.
Reloading.
The survivors are going to get in with 450 health bonus.
We are right.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty sizable.
It's a pretty dominant lead they have right now. Of course, we haven't taken consideration that Zombie Bastard still has a round of this map to go through, so they can make up some of the deficit, hopefully. But at this rate, it really doesn't look like they're going to be able to win.
Yeah, it's going to be really important to see how Zombie Bastards handles this tank, because they don't get a huge advantage by knowing when it starts up. I feel like Belligerent got more of an advantage on that. But it's really going to be, I think it's going to be all about that tank, because if they take down that tank properly, they can actually make it with a sizable health bonus.
Definitely. So I guess we're kind of just waiting for Zombie Bastards to lead out here.
Yes, we do see Belligerent setting up their charger pretty far in front. And the other SI are setting up on the complete opposite end. And the Boomer does go in and get one on Rochelle. Charger is not yet spawned. SI going in, Smoker going but getting cleared, and a Charger missing a hit, but we do land a pounce on Ellis. A couple of punches, 3 punches, 4 punches, 5 punches going off for that Charger. Played by Jeffy.
Jeffy showing us how to bot.
Yes, and that's actually...
Right.
They seem to have gotten just as much chip as Zombie Bastards did. Maybe a little bit more, actually. Yeah, they got quite a bit of chip there. And we do have SI spawns in up pretty soon.
Indeed, they're really split. I'm kind of wondering if BNT is going to try and capitalize on this. I really hope they do, because that is a huge...
That is a huge, huge split. And a pounce landing, 2-cap landing on top, not able to clear that. Spit does land on the pound. Lots of chip going in there on Ellen. Oh, wow. Yeah, as I have seen in the stream, Canada Rock says that Rochelle dropped pills, and they were trying to find that. But they should not have stayed split for so long. That was really good capitalization, and just they basically made themselves take that much damage by splitting up that much.
Definitely going from 70 damage to over 200. Oh man, it's actually over 300. Oh my god.
That's
so much
huge amount of damage.
So it looks like they already have their next setup. Belligerent is kind of probably feeling really good here after that attack. I know I would be.
Yeah, all of their attacks have been really effective. They've slowed the survivors down. They're just going to be able to hit on almost every choke point, it seems like, so...
Reloading.
It's just, we're probably just going to see Zombie Bastards clear out the common infected here and then take it probably just as slow as Belligerent did.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about bleeding out too much on this map. It's a pretty quick map, and the tank isn't something that can be played at range or, you know, put in and taken out after a couple punches. So the bleed isn't going to mess with them so much. They just need to... I mean, they basically just need to take less chip for health bonus reasons.
I got misery in my bones.
So we're going to see that horde come in, just like Belligerent waited for. It looks like they were as well. Probably a good choice. You don't want to take that horde ever while fighting SI, and they're actually going to move up. Looks like it was a bait though, but they bit on that bait. We're going to see a tri-gap Jeffy and the Hunter landing on top of the survivors on the top there, above this. We're going to see...
Oh my.
Oh my gosh, Ellis goes down. Boomer going in at the last second, landing on Ellis, who was down. We're going to see Nick go down as well. Oh my god, what a nice attack.
And with this split, trying to get up this boom survivor is going to be really hard. I'm not sure if they should be focusing all that effort on getting him up right now. And it looks like Busters is sort of sad that he's been left alone in the corner.
Poor guy.
Reloading here.
I'm not gonna make it.
Belligerent's next set is gonna be up in about a second here. Jeffy is getting his spawn up now. So we're gonna see them be able to hit down below if they so desire.
Oh, are they gonna go for this boomer? And he goes in, getting a boom on two of them. Charger coming up in the front, hitting, and getting just destroyed really quickly by a couple of survivors. Pull landing on back on Ellis, but they've still got the same amount of health bonus after this hit. Wow, that could have been really good, but they managed to level that Charger. which was really, I mean, that was really key to them being able to shut down that attack, and they managed to get it.
That charger could have been hell for them, but wisely choosing to bring out his melee weapon and then clearing that charger before he can land the charge, always very important.
Always.
So we might even see them get up the escalator before Jay has his spawn ready, and I think that's what it's going to be, but they're actually electing to go in anyway. Jesse kind of alone, gonna get destroyed by the Uzi, but Rochelle down below getting jockeyed, separated horribly. Booming on the two survivors trying to save Rochelle.
And the Hunter's still up too.
Behind him, and he just lands.
Oh my gosh.
Dead stop. They are just getting destroyed. The Proxy Boom onto Nick as well. We're gonna see the Hunter get away, maybe look for a DP.
Things are just not working out for Zombie Bastards right now. I want to say...
saw him get a DP.
He's still running around. Belligerent's not exactly being the most coordinated with their attacks right here, but I think Zombie Bastards is being a little bit less coordinated on their survivor, and that's sort of hurting them in some of these situations.
Yeah, I feel their survivors a lot more sloppy than Belligerents at the moment. So, yeah, it really all comes down to survivor play here, and Belligerent is obviously showing them how it's done.
Indeed. Yeah, they did really well with some of their infected hits. On the other hand, we have a charger coming in from the back, getting the double charge, while a pull and a jockey landing on the back two survivors. That spit and charge landing and actually killing Ellis. Charger going back in and getting more punches on Born Trouble. Wow, the survivors almost got wiped on that attack.
Oh my god. That was a great charge by the... I'm not sure who that was, but whoever it was, very good job knocking back two survivors, and then the other two campers landing on the two who weren't. That's just really coordinated these attacks, and they're doing a very good job.
Based on the spawn timers, I think that was a Bowflex in charge.
Could have been. We're gonna see that Boomer going in, but getting destroyed by Luxray shotgun there. We're gonna see Luxray getting pulled right after that though, and there's the trap cap. That's gonna be a wipe for Zombie Bastard.
GR.
Oh my gosh, they are down 1,900 point, or not 900. Wait, yeah, 900.
Yeah.
I can't do math. No big deal. I just need to cap.
For sure. Oh yeah, that was... Yeah, it's unfortunate they didn't even get to make it to the tank. Belligerent just really shows them how to capitalize and punish bad survivor play there. They really were well coordinated on their attacks and got so much work done. Every single attack was effective for them.
Definitely. It didn't seem like they got less than about 50 chip every set.
Yeah.
Except for the one where the charger got leveled. That was actually very well played by the Zombie Bastards, but besides that, they were really loosey-goosey and got destroyed by seemingly every attack.
I know one thing. I'm grabbing pills.
Yeah, I just think that split they had in the beginning, at the beginning of the map there, was just really bad for them. And it sort of was all downhill after that point. So we're starting out on that finale we were talking about, with Belligerent on Survivor first. And yeah, this is of course a scavenge finale, so it's not quite what most players are used to. But it should be pretty interesting, especially after this early tank right here.
I got the pills.
The match is live. Zombie Bastards has a Spitter Smoker Boomer Hunter. Not the greatest opener here, but it doesn't matter a huge amount because we have the tank coming up. Tank has not spawned yet, and Belligerent's just sort of slowly pushing up, trying to get it to spawn. Taking some spawns, closing doors, and here comes the tank into the hands of Luxray, who drops the Spitter. Tank moving up while Bowflex and get some chip onto it. It's actually really important. If you can get away with that, you can get a good amount of chip there. He actually gets a whole clip into that tank. It's down to 5,000 health, even less now, and tank's finally pushing up. Yeah, almost 25% of the tank's health has been taken away by that simple chip right there.
Tank, tank, tank!
It's just trying to bait up and get some sight. It looks like he's going to have to pass this. They've kept a Smoker and a Hunter, and they now have a Spitter, which I'm hoping they'll keep instead of trying to sacrifice. And no, they're going to They are going to sacrifice the spitter and the smoker right here. Well, the tank moves up just a little bit more. It's really unfortunate. You do want the spitter on this map, because what the survivors are going to do is, as soon as the tank pushes in or they have some SI spawn up, they're going to run back into the safe room. Oh, I see. It was an AI'd spitter. They had to pass the tank again. Now, the tank's only about half health right now. They're running out of things they can do with this tank. They sent the hunter in first, and the tank's following in after that. They do get a boom, and they get a separation by a pull right there. Of course, Bowflexen pushes up and exchanges a punch for being able to clear Nick right there. Tank is now surrounded by all 4 survivors. He does knock some back into the safe room though, getting a couple punches off in there. Wow, this tank's actually doing a lot of work for only having half health to begin with. Looks like they got a good amount of chip there. They got about 100 damage in on the survivors, which you can usually get a lot more with that tank. You can get wipes there if it's played properly, but they still managed to do pretty well for only having a half health tank, in my opinion. Survivors just sort of moving up slowly to the elevator here, after pulling some more pills out of the restrooms.
Any ideas? Actually, I've been thinking, so I just been thinking.
And Sygnus, of course, has gone away to get some soup, and will be back momentarily.
And I'll drive that thing to New Orleans my damn self.
I'll agree to the idea, but I'm driving.
Yeah, only if I get killed. Otherwise, you better kill me.
Survivors slowly moving down here. It looks like they've got a boomer and a spitter for this hit. Just a hunter and a smoker assisting that. And it looks like they're setting up for a quick hit right here.
Let's get some gas.
And a boom landing on all 4 survivors. Spit going and spreading, splitting off one survivor in the elevator, who gets cleared kind of slowly. Had a pounce on him. That was actually really good. They got a lot done with that attack, even though they didn't have the greatest of setups. They still got another 50 damage or so. And we have Sygnus back again.
Thank you, Fred. Feel like recapping me on what just happened? I see the first tanks.
Yeah, first tank didn't get a whole lot. They sort of handled it poorly, but he did manage to get about 100 damage off, even with only having 3,000 health when he actually committed. Most survivors splitting up right now, getting some cans in. Boom going in on the 2 survivors by the car, but it looks like the other SI are setting up on the far 2 survivors, who have actually turned around after grabbing some cans to come back. No hits coming in yet, and the survivor's actually getting a lot of can. Charger moving up, hitting that charge on Jay. And a hunter jockey going in. Charger does get cleared relatively quickly though, and it looks like these other 2 SI are going to get stuffed. Landing on Rochelle for a little bit of damage, but not incredibly effective.
Looks like we're going to see Ning Ning pop pills again. I believe he already had some. Probably took a bit of chip and
Yeah.
had to keep on rolling. We should see the next setup in about 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
It's real easy to bleed out on this finale, that's for sure. You spend a lot of time running around, taking lots of chip just to try to get these cans in. It can be pretty deadly.
Spawns up, then they're gonna be even longer. Looks like they saved the top floor for last, which I'm kind of curious about. Normally you see teams go for the top first, and as I'm being so really in charge by the hunter moving in, he's in a death stop with the smoker grabbing him from behind. He is gonna get cleared by the AHR of Bowflex. It looks like Hunter's still bouncing around trying to get Rochelle. Looks like the charge is going to change his direction onto Jeffy, landing a pound on him. Gonna get a good amount of.
Could have been a good hit there. They had some separation to play off of and got an intercept, but that hunting rifle was just positioned well, was able to clear that quickly. And they only got a little bit of damage in on Jeffy there. Now the tank is up and going to the top floor, probably just to play this along. The survivors only have cans left on the 3rd floor, which is going to be hard for them to move to with the tank up. So if he just plays this long, he can probably get a lot of bleed and damage on the survivors.
Oh, and what a rock coming out from that tank. Landing on Ellis, it looked like. As I said earlier, I was curious as to why they saved the top floor for that. would have made it much easier if they did that one first and then went for the second target. Jockey is going to land on Rochelle for a few seconds. It looks like that Smoker is either faking or looking for an actual pull. But whatever the case, he can't seem to land. The tank is really just keeping in range, it looks like. Actually, he's passing. Sorry, I am so wrong. We're going to see that tank switch to Buzz.
Oh, and he does get a rock off immediately on Ning Ning right there. Now all of the survivors are bleeding out. If they can just keep getting rage and rocks like this, they should be able to do a lot.
Definitely, and as you were talking, you actually got another rock. Roshan, and just another one onto Jeff. He is destroying these survivors right now. Doing a really good job of keeping that rage and just like tossing rocks from an area where he can't get Jeff. Now I'm moving a little bit over to the right towards where the survivors are. The Hunter's going to get shut down. Looks like that rock was on trajectory for Alice, but a little too far ahead. Alice saw it and didn't move forward. We're going to see the next two spawns up in about 10 seconds. Another rock landed. It looked like it was on Nick. I'm not quite sure. HR is trying his best to chip down the tank, but he's only taking about 2,200 damage. Looks like he might actually commit with this. We're going to see the tank moving in. Charger going for a charge, but not landing, getting whiffed. Alice is getting pulled by the Smoker, getting glitched. Jockey actually landed on the target of the tank, which is Coach. We're going to see Nick almost getting cut off by the tank, but barely dodging it. We're going to see that tank work on Nick right now, but missing the second hit. We see Coach got cleared the last second by the HR. Tank is getting destroyed right now. With no support, he is going to die right because he's jumping on the car. And he's pretty much given actually choosing to go back up.
And then back down.
I'm so confused right now. I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, they didn't really need to give that up. They had enough health and had some slow survivors. However, the tank is dead now, and the survivors will be moving up to third floor. About going for second floor first, I think the reason a lot of teams do that is because more cans spawn up on second floor than on third. And so, and it's a little bit easier to do second floor. So if you aren't planning on getting all the cans, it's a lot easier to just get all of them from second floor a lot quicker.
Definitely, and as you were talking about that, we saw the Charger land on two of the survivors up top with the Smoker landing on Jeffy after that. So that was a very nice attack, getting a good amount of chip, and that Smoker did as well. Jockey elected to go for Coach, but getting denied. We actually do see Jeffy go down, and I think it's Coach who has one. So the survivors aren't looking in too great a shape right now, but they actually might be able to get these cans.
Yes, of course, we do have a spitter spawned up now, and I think we're going to be able to see some scavenge style hits to just put the nail in the coffin here. They've got one can down on bottom split that they can just re-spit off, or alternatively, they've got two survivors that they're stuck in some spit and a can getting lit because of it. Hunter going down to try to deny a can pour by Jeffy, and he does get the cap there. And we still have the spitter up, so I think this is going to be it for the survivors. They aren't going to be able to get any more cans after this, unless the spitter goes down and they magically manage to... As I say that, the spitter goes down, and it looks like they're going to be able to get maybe a couple other can pours in if they play this right. However, Jockey has taken Rochelle. Ning Ning back into the back, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to save her at all. Yeah, this is basically going to be the end.
Let that last can up there. It looks like they've pretty much given up at this point. Which I don't blame them. That Smoker's going to look for a last second pull on a Coach. He didn't get it, but Alice is still on top trying to clear Rochelle. Didn't get it.
This is over.
And that is, yeah, that's over. Round. So they did get about 500, 600 points, but at this point it doesn't look like it really matters. I don't think they can win, even if they made it with like the most amazing outbound.
Indeed. Yeah, they're actually just out of reach. They'd need 2,400 points is the maximum amount you can get on a finale. And they're actually, yes, well no, that's the total score.
Oh, okay.
So if they magically took no damage at all, they would still be about 30, they'd be 34 points short, I believe.
Oh, man. Well, that's unfortunate, so I guess we're gonna have to congratulate BNT right now on winning this game against Fleming Bastards in the CG match, I believe it was. I'm not sure if it was a ladder or match.
Reloading.
It's part of the league.
Oh, okay. So, alright, we're gonna see that boomer land on the coach. Only it looks like Death being employed in that area of the hallway in front of one of the bathroom doors. We're gonna see that tank. Looks like he's just gonna walk his way in. Look for us a nice punch on Alice. Almost got a multi there, but didn't quite land.
Yeah, one thing you'll see that Belligerent did differently is they used that first hit right there, even though it didn't do a lot of damage or anything. It kept the survivors from moving forward to chip that tank. On the first round, we actually saw the tank take about 25% of his health in chip, just because Bowflexen was able to get up there and do a lot of hunting rifle picking.
I think a lot of mistakes is tanks get a little too worried that they're going to take too much chip, but then they end up even taking more if they elect not to push up and disallow those survivors from making it.
Yeah.
Quick shoot me.
No, they did sort of a feint there. They haven't really committed yet. They are getting some of these punches on survivors that are baiting up here. Tank's taken 1,800 damage, but he's actually gotten 3 punches, which isn't a bad trade.
Not bad at all. Still peeking around. He's really just denying the survivors from getting in, and he's really leading them. He knows that they're going to try and beat him, so he goes in prematurely and gets the punch before he can juke him.
Yeah, he's making some good trades here. He's only taking a couple hundred chip and getting some punches. Now, it looks like the tank's going to commit with it. A 2-cap does land in front. Jockey's taking one of the survivors into the bathroom, while the tank keeps pushing on the back too. Oh, and the boomer pushes Rochelle out of the way of the tank's punch. Tank is now alone and scared, while 3 survivors are laying into him. He does have a couple thousand more health, and if the survivors keep baiting incorrectly, they can actually take some more damage here. But for the most part, this should be the end of the tank's hit. He goes in, does get a punch on Ellis though. Oh, who gets capped. There's only 2 survivors left standing up at this point, and we have 3 SI ready to go in. A jockey does not quite land on the other end, and the smoker gets a pull for about a half a second there. The survivors will be able to get up and start moving again, but
I got a misery in my...
they did manage. That tank was handled really well, for the most part. Missed a couple of punches, but they got a huge amount of damage in on 2 survivors there.
What are we gonna do now?
Jay claiming is back. Apparently he was AFK, so I guess I gotta give him shit for that too. Good job, Jay, for having 0 points during that tank. But on top, it looks like that tank pretty much doubled the amount of damage that the other team did. But oh my gosh, what just happened?
A hunter landed on Coach in the back, while the Charger tried to charge at Coach. So the Charger completely whiffed and got nothing. They did manage to come back in for some punches and got more in trouble in cap there. But it was just very funny to see the hunter steal the Charger's charge like that. It was the right move for the hunter, but Charger just kept going in. Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting. Looks like we're gonna see Zombie Bastards get to the bottom here, and kind of wondering how Belligerent's gonna do this attack. Sometimes we see wait until they get outside and kind of go for a hit out there, but we do see sometimes rush in and go for spit damage, but I don't think they have a spitter, so that might not be what they're doing.
Now remember,
No spitter indeed, and once again we've got a lot of damage on the survivors. There's going to be a lot of bleed for them, which is really hard on this finale. We'll have to see if this hit comes in early though. It looks like the SI are just going to wait it out a little bit. The survivors haven't moved for any cans yet. They're just going to get pills right now, and so this hunter's sort of just scaring them with scratches. Survivors also choosing to move up to second. A jockey does go in on front, trying to grab the first guy. He does land his jockey, and a 2-cap landing in back with a hunter and a smoker, while Rochelle is left to try to clear everything. And of course, Buster's on top as Nick is getting taken around the map by this jockey, really showing that the jockey is OP.
Jockey, most powerful infected in the game, but
It is most certainly is. Tell your local Valve offices to put jockey variance changes into vanilla.
Although I do think he's a little underappreciated. He's not as weak as everyone thinks he is.
For sure. But we only have one survivor left with permanent health at this point. They are getting a couple cans in. But the attack comes in, a pounce landing on Coach in front there. I didn't see if it was a DP. A tri-cap does land with the Charger and Jockey. And the spit coming in later to try to get that can burn, and it does land. So the survivors have only gotten one can in, and they're running low on health supplies.
It looks like we're seeing a common scavenge strategy being put into play here, where the spitter sits on top and basically just either tries to find a can to spit on it, or they'll spit on the car when they go to put it in.
Yeah, that's a very good strategy, especially more so in Confogel, where the can burn time has been reduced by almost a second. The survivors are coming back with a few more cans, while this boomer sits behind the can wishing he had landed his boom. And he manages to get it anyway. Spitter and Hunter going in for a hit. Rochelle does move out of the way before that DP can land. And they do save the cans, and I think they'll be able to get these two more cans in there. Unless they decide to send this damage pounce in again. That's something really important. Another thing that we don't see teams do is important scavenge strategy. When you're going up to pour in cans, you really need to bait it out. You don't want to get stuck there getting DP'd or charged or whatever and lose your can.
Yeah, it's being important. Finally getting that can. Almost losing it too after the charge, but Charger actually lands on Nick after aiming for Rochelle. The boomer booming on Rochelle as well. He's going to employ a pipe bomb to get rid of the horde, but he does get pounced right after. Oh, and I was supposed to tell you about that 100 pounds earlier on the car was DP.
The survivors did a really good job there juggling the can to keep it from getting burned, but they still took a lot of chip with it, so they definitely aren't going to be able to survive that much longer.
Nope.
But it's better to survive. It's better to survive with 4 cans than to survive with 3 cans. Tank is up now in the hands of Bowflexen. We'll probably see some similar play by Belligerent as we saw Zombie Bastards do, playing the tank long. Coach is moving up to get a can poured out, and he does manage to get it in. It's really important. If you don't think you're going to survive a tank, you can try to pour in some more cans to either get more distance or force the tank to make a move. They have moved up to 5 cans though, so...
Molotov was employed, but a little bit too far to the right. That spread actually almost got him. He was pretty close to it, and it spread all the way down the hall.
Shoot it!
But he's losing range pretty quick here. Only take about 500 chip, but I think he can afford to go for a few more peaks before losing it, and it actually looks like he's going to commit with this, or go for a few punches at least, and then get it.
I guess so. They do have a tri-cap to go in with, and a couple of survivors are slow. So we'll have to see. Tank at about half health right now, does get his first punch in capping out. Charger does land, getting some really great separation. There's only one survivor left up. Charger and Smoker have both hit. Born Trouble's already calling GG. And that is it. The last punch goes off on Busters.
Oh man,
Belligerent takes the game.
Even before that last survivor got caught, but it was definitely a good game. Belligerent winning by 2,000, really proving their dominance.
Indeed.
That was a really interesting match, actually. I don't think I've got to cast Dead Center a lot in the past, but no, I'm glad I did.
Yeah, we don't see it a lot, but it's definitely fun to watch.
Definitely. Oh, so you never did get to answer the question I asked you earlier on, like, map 2.
Oh, about the finale?
Shotgun. No, about the shotgun.
Oh, right. I don't think it's that important. The shotguns do actually a lot of damage. They do more damage than the silenced SMGs, if you can make them hit. So, I'm completely fine with 2 shotgun setups. It really depends on how the tank's going to be played. If it's a long-range tank, you usually want more Uzis, but I think 2 shotguns, 1 shotgun, 0 shotguns are all legitimate. Just depends on what you can be the most efficient with as players.
Definitely. I guess it all really comes down to preference, whether you like to be closer to your enemies when you're shooting, or if you prefer to go for accuracy and, you know, maybe get a pick like a hunter or something.
For sure.
But I feel I have similar feelings with shotguns.
Alright, well that was a really good game. Thank you guys for watching. we hope to do some more casts like this in the future, of maybe some Cyber Gamer Amateur League games, some ladder games and whatnot. Thanks for letting me cast with you, Sygnus.
No problem, man. It's my pleasure.
Alright, and that should wrap things up.